Oh god, I'm so tired today. Today we are going to go through some of our favorite features in ES 2018. I'm gonna keep that in. I am MPJ.
And I'm David.
And you are watching DevTips.
This episode is sponsored by Code Mentor, the world's largest one-on-one live developer mentorship platform. On Code Mentor, you can find a partner that will help you fix bugs live while you're there. You can find a partner to program with you in a pair programming session and to personalize your learning experience. You can also find freelance developers to help you work on your project for the short term or for the long term. Show Code Mentor that you came from here by following the link in the episode description, codementor.io/devtips. If you're one of the first 200 people that sign up, you will get a $15 discount. So what are we doing today, MPJ?
Well, okay, so you reached out to me and said that could we have a little bit of a relaxed discussion, because both of us are super ultra tired this week. Like we want to do something casual and we just want to hang out and just talk. And you said that, hey, it would be interesting to just go through some ES 2018 features in JavaScript and just see which ones we like and just play around with them a little and talk about them.
So let me start off. I have my favorite thing. ES 2018, there's not that much being added from what I've understood, but there's one thing that I really, really like. You know how when you have an object, like const obj, do you see this?
Yeah, I see it.
And I have like my prop here, with some data, something. And then I have prop2, like that. Other data, like that. And then it's always like, so sometimes you want to delete something from that, then you can do like delete obj dot the prop you want to delete.
Mm-hmm.
And now, what is the obj? Now it's deleted. Sometimes you would like to do this while you're cloning, and you would like to clone only parts of it. But you want to like remove some fields, and then you can sort of like a hack. I didn't come up with this myself. It's this just a shout out to this guy, Bramus Van Dam. He made this great post. So if you're using objects, rest, and spread, you can sort of tweak this and hack this. So instead of, so let's make another object. I've prepared. Let's go down here. David's favorite, spread to remove feed. So you have a user, first name M, last name J, Twitter handle, and some email there. So if I want to create a user without the city, so like const user without the city, then I can do the city and then spread user without city and use the user.
What?
So what do you get now? City. That should be city, right? Yes. And then user without. Isn't that amazing?
Like, why?
It's magic.
Get where does this come from without city?
I'm taking, you know this, I don't remember what is this notation called, the destructuring thing. So I'm destructuring user. So I'm saying, take the city field and create a new variable. And then I use the rest operator here, or spread or rest. So this means that I'm just taking the rest of user and putting that into user without city. Do you get it? So I'm like, so you could do, often, this is what you often would do. So you would do like this, first name and then last name. User. And then you get the first name and the last name. So you get them assigned there.
Yeah.
So this is doing the same. It's just by adding the the dots, it takes the rest of the elements, of the properties.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. I just look forward to using it.
Jesus, I still have a hard time wrapping my head around it.
So in his example, the Bramus guy, he he said that the example is, so perhaps you have like email is a sensitive PII, personally identifiable information field, so that you perhaps would like to remove. Then it's like user without PII, for example.
Oh, yeah. So now that will be like the rest of the object. Yeah. That's actually pretty cool.
If you don't know what's going on here, perhaps this looks like magic.
Yeah, a little bit, but then again, like, so, I mean, my brother, who is an artist, whenever he looks at code, he thinks that this looks like abstract arcane shit. Like, programming languages are like that until you know them. I don't particularly, like, now that I'm getting, once I'm getting into the mindset of viewing this as a REST operator instead of the object spread thing, like it just widens my view of it, then it starts to feel kind of approachable. This is a bit of an abstract example though. Like, when would you wanna get a cleaner object? Perhaps like a simple user.
So if you're getting things, fetching things from some API, you're getting a big object blob, and then you know that you want most of it, but perhaps not. Often you get like a header field that has all the information about your request, and perhaps you want to remove that and just keep the other part.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I don't know. I guess that's the use case.
Yeah.
And I guess that the main thing here is that you're using the curly brackets here instead of the ordinary brackets, because you're used to this operator when you're doing arrays. Right?
Yeah.
So what do you do then? It's like when you do the arg thing, like in a function.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you write that? Can you show me? What do you do, sort of?
Yeah, but it's like if you have a function, and let's say that this function has like, I don't know, first name, last name, and then it's the rest of the args, like.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I tend to use this. I often use this like just to you don't have to use the arguments array.
Oh.
Arguments object, because you have access to the async, but this is like some weird bastard object that is not really an array, and this doing this will actually give you the array.
Oh, okay, without any special magic things.
Exactly, which is sort of nice.
So if you got to choose one of the ES2018 features that are suggested, which one would you choose?
Okay, so I have not prepared.
I know.
But I'm looking through them. So there are some regex related things.
Oh, I love the regex. Okay, can I have one more?
Yeah, sure.
So, if you have a regular expression, we have this string, your name.
Yep.
Full name. And we match a regular expression. And we add the I flag to say that it's case insensitive. And I want to extract your first name and your last name. So this is a bit of a crap example, but I want to match Matthias and then stuff here, and then Johansson.
Yeah.
How does Quokka work here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So first we get the first, what does it, the array shows, the first item in this result shows what was matched. Matthias, Petr, Johansson, the entire string. Then the second, the 1th element in the array is Matthias. And then the second or third, okay, this is...
Wait.
Okay, let's...
Can we...
let's just assign this to const the match.
Yeah.
Okay,
let's visualize it.
Here we have the match.
Yeah.
Like that. So we have what was matched is equal to here, in this case, is the match. the 0th item. So Matthias, Petter, Johansson.
Yeah.
This regular expression matched for this string. But my purpose was to extract the first name, Matthias here, and the last name, Johansson. So then you would have to do const first name. Okay, let's just remove the stuff from before. First name is this part, Matthias, and then the last name that I wanted to extract, which is in the second capture group. So Matthias here is in the first capture group, and the last name here is in the second capture group.
Yeah.
But what happens if we would not have the first capture group? So perhaps we would have this as a question mark here, that we could either get a first name match or not, because we know that the input here is perhaps it can be both first name and last names or just last names in this example. Then if we were to extract, if we did not get a first name, then this guy would have to be that one. Do you get that, what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. So like they would, the slotting would be...
So if this one would be... This is the example.
Yeah.
And then perhaps this would be like sort of unclear. So you can have named match groups. And I don't even know how you write that.
Oh, that's cool. That makes regex
capture groups.
Yeah.
How do I do?
Okay, that's actually very good. Like that makes regular expressions a lot more, a lot less alien.
So let me try to understand how do you write them. They are not very easy to write. You write...
Okay. Well, you can't have everything, I suppose.
I think that's how you write it. And then...
It's not too bad. Can you add a line break?
Yeah.
There we go.
Invalid regular expression. Could it be that my Quokka instance does not have support for this?
Maybe.
Or is it that I've written it incorrectly?
Yeah, it's not too important.
Yeah. So I think this is the notation. And then I could do the match dot first name.
Oh, that's gorgeous, actually.
Dot last name.
That's really nice, actually, because that would make sense that then it would feel like you could actually this to me would feel like let's say I feel like this could be extracted out as a first name matcher or something. And then you could reuse it like this. Let's say that this would make sense, like if it was this on line 9 here. This would make sense to export from a separate file, because now this is kind of documenting itself.
Yeah.
While just using the numbers, it would not make sense to use that way. This makes it. This actually gives it an API. This is pretty cool.
My favorites.
All right, so
I suspected that you would not choose regex.
No, that's good. Like, I like regex, but it's like it's just more of your thing.
Yes.
I've been exploring async iterators. Just to
and
remind
there are
everyone,
videos on that.
Yeah, but let's just remind everyone what on a high level what iterators are.
Yeah.
So earlier let's remove this. Can I remove this?
Yeah.
Earlier in JavaScript, when you had like, let's say, an array. Jesus, I code way too little. Let's say names, and you had like John and Wayne and Fluffykins.
Yeah.
When you iterated through them, you would do what was it, like for each?
For of? Or do you mean name dot?
No,
names
I'm talking about what we did before there was for of.
Oh, yeah.
It's for in for there's so many weird things. So we have different ways of iterating through an array, right? We have this thing for each, and then we have like, can I do this? Like something like that? No, hang on. I need to do that. Yeah, and then we see here like John and Wayne and Fluffkins for every iteration. And then we had like we could do it like a normal for loop for var x equals 0 and x less than names.length and I++, and then we do like...
Yeah, I changed it to I because you started using I instead.
Yeah, thanks. Names and then I, and it will be like John and Wayne and Fluffkins.
Yeah.
And then there was this super weird thing in JavaScript, which was for each, I think it's called, for in?
For of?
No, this was before for of. For of is iterators. For of is actually a very recent addition. No, this is the one I was talking about.
Okay.
For,
yeah. Oh yeah.
It has a for in, and this doesn't really like. This is super weird because this gives us not at all what we were expecting. I think that this is kind of like for in is for iterating properties of an object.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if there actually is a way of iterating over an array except the for loop. I don't actually remember, but either way, the way you do it nowadays is this.
Yeah.
For of, and for of has a lot more implications than just this, because for of like this is using an interface or a contract that the array provides that this for of loop can use. So this is actually not limited to arrays. This is the for of loop is not aware that the names is an array. It just sees that, hey, this is an iterable, and it provides an iterator that I can use to go through it. And there are a bunch of different things in JavaScript that uses this. Like for instance, like the node list is not an array, but you can do the for of on it because it's an iterable. So this is like a generic way.
A node list is what you get when you do like document.query selector all, and then you write like a CSS selector here, like all links that you've tagged as outbound links with a class or something like that.
Yes,
then you will get a node list. Precisely. And not an array.
Exactly. And earlier this was a pain in the ass because it ended up being like, oh, you had to figure out how to convert the array to a node, like the node list to an array before you could do map on it. I think we actually had that problem in a couple of episodes ago. But now that we have like that, where everything starts to, where iterators become the common interface, we can start dealing with iterators instead of having everything be arrays. So libraries that iterate over things, like for instance underscore or Ramda, they could start like, instead of using arrays as input, they could use iterables as input.
And what does this have to do with ES2018?
Yeah, so ES2018 takes this further and allows you to do async iterators. So an async iterators allows you to do, like, for instance, let's say a stream.
So you mean, so let me, if I get it, so instead of having like this static array that we know how many items it has, you can sort of iterate over things, but you don't really know if things will be added here.
Exactly.
Because so you're sort of waiting for them or something like that.
Precisely. So perhaps like read names of 40 gigabyte file and it's like names.txt. So it's like this huge thing that you couldn't possibly fit in memory, but you want to iterate over it. So it will read the lines asynchronously.
That is really cool. But then you would write for it of, like you would put an await somewhere here, right? Like this is not the way you write it.
No, it's a for await instead.
Okay.
So like that. The interesting thing here is that we're not limited to, like, the for of loop is not the only consumer of this thing. So let's say that in the same way that we, like, these file things provides asynchronous iterators, we could also have consumers that adhere to this contract. So we could have like map functions in Lambda that handle async iterators, or we could have, like, you could write your own little streaming processors. So that means that we could actually use async iterators as sort of our shared async atom. So let's say that you use Lambda or underscore or any like Regex or whatever, then they could use async iterators and pass them back and forth together as like their common language, so to speak. Okay. So it's kind of like this super generic thing that is sort of like an async array, but that is shared across all libraries in JavaScript and work the same way, which creates like this massive interoperability opportunity.
So that is cool as like a JavaScript nerd or like a super advanced JavaScripter. If I'm just like a front-end guy that do some document.querySelector_all, will I be affected if when will I use for await? Do you have any? I
would say that any time where you are not able to process everything at the same time. Let's say that you are
perhaps in our web scraping thing.
Sure, but I was thinking more about the web scraper where, you know, where we eventually will have to page it, and it will have to like get the next page and get the next page and get the next page and get the next page. Then we would just get this flow of data, and it would be kind of stupid to wait for all that data to arrive before starting to process it.
Like if I'm scraping like a huge site with millions of items, then I don't want to wait for that scrape to finish before I start to update the new data I get in with my scrape.
Yeah.
Then I want
so this is in no way a new concept. We have like Regex and Highland and Bacon and like all those streaming libraries that fetch things over time. What asynchronous iterators gives us is a standard way of doing it in JavaScript.
Yeah. Back in the old days, I'd used jQuery.each because I found that more handy to iterate than writing for var I equals 0, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually .forEach came natively into JavaScript, and now I don't have to use jQuery to for each an array.
Exactly. Promises might be another better example too, because earlier we had like jQuery return like these promise-like objects, and then we had Bluebird and queue, and then eventually we got promises in JavaScript, and now everything returns like these interoperable promises that all applications can understand.
Oh, Fika! Oh God, how could we forget?
I don't know, we didn't set a timer, dude.
No, we forgot the timer.
These are called dammsugare, vacuum cleaner, because they're shaped like the vacuum cleaners back in, I don't know, the 70s, 60s. They are filled with some substance called arak, but I don't really know exactly what that is in English. Somebody comment that, please.
I think that dammsugare and vacuum cleaner is like, you either hate or love it, and I'm more in the hate section.
Most people are. Most people are, actually. Like, this is... I found that I mostly... I like a lot of things that people hate.
This is great content.
Really great content. Let's just leave this entire section here unedited.
Yeah. If you like this kind of interactive things, like pair programming and discussing your code, you should go and check out Code Mentor. The link is in the episode description, codementor.io/devtips. It would be really cool if you wrote in the comments, did you think this was like too difficult to understand, to wrap your heads around this, especially what MPJ talked about now in the end, the 408 of? Is that like too advanced, or is this okay? Would you like to be challenged with difficult concepts, or would you rather just document.query selector all? That's fine. Just tell us in the in the comments what you thought about that. These episodes come out every Friday morning at GMT 0800. Figure out your own time zone. I can't do that for you. Thank you for watching. Yeah, write in the comments what you thought about this episode and all that stuff. See you in the next video. Ciao.
Bye.